we're naming 3 concepts that had a personal impact on me. I went with chapter 1 first, just getting that real, true, and detailed introduction to what interpersonal communication truly is, and how no matter what your style is, no matter what situation in which you have to communicate with someone, it has to be appropriate, effective as possible, and of course ethical. It is something that has to be consistently practiced, or is consistently practiced, sometimes in the wrong ways, sometimes in the right ways if you're thinking about what you're doing or how you're communicating in a certain situation. But it's a constant is what I'm trying to say. And then that personal experience with communication. So the more we do it, the more we get it wrong, the more we learn. It's just the best teacher that we have. And just how many ways that we all are able to communicate with each other. Just so many ways, obviously verbally, non-verbally, hand motions, online, with emails or phone, text messages, so many ways that we communicate. We're surrounded by communication. And it's what maintains our relationships. I mean, without communication, you don't form relationships, period. And it's what can maintain or ruin a relationship. And how we communicate is going to let other people form assumptions about us. So it's really important to learn our communication style and improve that, and right where we're wrong, and that way we can make sure other people are getting a better, accurate view of who we are and what we're about. The second concept I chose was in chapter 4, just processing and managing emotions. I learned a lot about how I manage them. I feel like this course has really made me think more and just kind of have those woosah moments where I'm letting the emotions come in but not take over how I respond or react to a certain situation or person. And then definitely applying and thinking about when I'm helping and trying to guide my daughter in managing her emotions. We kind of came up with something that, like, emotions are like clouds. They can be really, really big, and they can be really small. They can be really heavy. They can be moving really fast. They can be moving really slow. But either way, they're constantly moving. That cloud doesn't have to stay in that same spot. You don't have to just take over. That cloud doesn't have to take over. And sometimes we have thunderstorms, so we had like all those comparisons to clouds and our emotions. And I learned that through kind of this chapter, and just how it talks about processing them, and triggers, and just how our culture, I live in the South, and how that's could possibly be affecting how we handle these things. Because even at school, her teachers here in the South might handle those kind of things much differently than they would somewhere else, or in a completely different country, or anything. Also, the suppression, venting, and acceptance of emotions. Kind of the same cloud concept that we came up with after getting into this chapter was Obviously we don't want to suppress them. Just because maybe you're holding on to them doesn't mean you're suppressing them. It has to be addressed somehow, or, at least notice it. At least noticing it is not suppressing it. Venting, I feel like, is good and bad. It can be too much. I think it has to be done in moderation. And then obviously acceptance, because every emotion, you have to accept that it's there. And that's just the process of it. In my journal prompt, in the journal prompt in this chapter, I definitely realized some things, some triggers about myself that I had to start addressing and working through a little bit better. And kind of reviewing it, I came across the definition of reprisal or reappraisal, and it's just adjusting and like changing that thought process. And I feel like definitely applying that to triggers is a game changer. Okay, concept number 3, listening. I definitely realized how often I am a pseudo listener. Just having like one conversation going on in my head about everything that's going on in my own life or my own day and all of these things, and trying to pair that with a real conversation, verbal conversation with someone, and it just doesn't work very well. So I took mental bracketing, and I wasn't always successful, because would have to, like, I'm sorry, what did you say when blah blah, or what did you say after blah blah. But still practicing just being vocal, like, I'm sorry, I had a bad day, I didn't hear what you said. That way, it's not coming off as like, I don't want to hear what they have to say, or I'm just pretending to listen, because, obviously I want to hear what my loved ones have to say. It happens a lot when I'm multitasking too, not even when stressors or like my own troubles are going on, but happens a lot when I'm multitasking. So I have to be careful about that. Let's see. An analytical listener. Like, I'm also an analytical listener. Again, moderation is key here. But it did mention about being able to easily take others' perception or perspective from others. Now, I don't know that it didn't really specify whether I'm taking those perspectives and like making them my own or taking them into consideration. I mean, I do take other perspectives into consideration, but I don't let them take over what my perception or perspective is going to be about something. Okay, my favorite, actually, I couldn't pick just one favorite part of this course. Obviously, I really like the self-concept paper. I know that you mentioned it was a class favorite most of the time, and I do see why. It's really fun to get the freedom of just like writing and going on about, the different things that you asked about, impact of a positive and negative impacts on your life, and just kind of who you became, who you are. It was difficult to get it going because I feel like it's kind of hard to talk about yourself sometimes at length, and just kind of keep it reined in too, because I mean, when you've lived 30 plus years, a lot has gone on sometimes. A whole lot can go on in that amount of time. But that was really fun to just kind of get the ball rolling and have it finished, and then read it back and be like, oh wow, that's my life experience. That's my life journey. So it's fun. that was fun. And then the Johari window, that was really cool just because I like a visual, like a hands-on and visual learner. So the visual, like the placement of our faults and the opposite. It's just easy to like look at that and see like, okay, here's where I need to improve, and here's where I'm doing okay. And like it just seems manageable when you look at it in this cool little Johari window with some explanation to that of how you got that those portions. Anyway, thank you so much for teaching this to us, and these are really great, thoughtful assignments. Thank you so much.